So the reason I got Grahm on the call is because he's a member of ours and he's done really, really well since starting. And not just the weight he's lost, but also his fitness, his energy levels, his motivation, and kind of how that's impacted his life and the way he feels. And I just wanted to get him on the call to kind of share his situation before starting, what he's experienced, the results he's experienced, and just so you can kind of understand what he's been through. So first off, Grahm, really, is just if you explain who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I'm a vice principal of a secondary school. So the job that I do obviously had a massive impact on, with it being a busy job, on being quite a convenient excuse for not exercising in the past. Sometimes long days, late finishes and things like that. So when I started the programme, that gave me the impetus really to kind of look past that and to give me some clarity really in terms of I was just probably making excuses really for not doing something and finding a reason to avoid exercise and being active.
Yeah, it's hard, and so many of our members, like you and like myself, life gets busy and it's about getting the structure that's when structure becomes so helpful, having so much to stick to and follow and giving you a reason to do it as well. So what was your kind of situation before starting?
I've got a son who's nearly 9 months old now, and a son who's about to turn 5. So when I joined, it was literally around the time that my second son was born. So I'd obviously had quite a big change in life in terms of sort of looking at things and all those. I think those moments in your life, you do sort of stand back and look at everything really, don't you? And I knew at that point with another sort of child coming into the world that I wasn't as fit as I could be. I wasn't as healthy as I could be. I'd got into some bad habits whilst my wife was pregnant. And we'd just sort of spent a lot of time sat watching TV on an evening, kind of not being particularly active. So I needed a bit of a kick up the backside. I'd finished work for the summer holidays and I saw the 8-week programme and signed up thinking, well, I know I've got 6 weeks to commit to it while I'm not at work to get into the swing of things, and then I'll see how things go. And it might be that after 8 weeks I finish and it finishes there, and if so, brilliant. And obviously, bearing in mind we're 9 months down the line now and I'm still a member, obviously things have worked out and gone a lot longer beyond that.
Perfect. And so before obviously starting, when you were kind of in a bad routine with bad habits, how long had that been the case and how was that making you feel?
I suppose that had been probably like that for a while really, because I think sometimes, especially when you've got young children and you've got a busy job, it's very easy to come in and feel quite tired. And I think you get in that cycle of, because you're tired and you're quite lethargic, you lack that kind of energy to do something because you feel tired. Whereas, ironically, I think sometimes people don't believe this when they hear it, but the more active that I've become, that's given me more energy to keep going. And even though nothing's changed in terms of still do the same job, I've got another child now than I did when I first started. There's nothing different in that sense in terms of the things that need juggling and the commitments. But actually, I've got more energy to do all of them. So I think it's just made sort of just given everything a bit of a boost in that sense, really, in terms of energy levels and being able to kind of get up and crack on with things.
Yeah. Definitely, once you exercise, it's great for this as well as your body. Puts you in kind of a positive outlook. You're more of a spring in your step. I know now, just talking to you and watching you, you've just got more spring. Yes, life to if that makes sense.
Yeah,
great to see. And then obviously you joined the programme, and what results have you experienced since joining?
So since joining, I've lost 3 stone, and my fitness levels are significantly improved. From the very first session that I did, I really wondered whether I'd even managed to get to the end of it. And I thought, if this is going to be like this, I don't think I'll be back next week. And after my first session, I couldn't walk properly for about 3 days. My legs were just in bits.
Yeah.
I struggled to get upstairs to have a shower. And that was almost instantaneous. And I think sometimes if you've not done exercise for that long, if anyone did join up and did a session and had that might knock people. But I went to the second session thinking I'm not even going to be able to do this because I'm struggling to get up the stairs. But I think one of the things I've found is how amazing our bodies are in terms of they just go again, and you're able to push them. And even when you're kind of aching a bit or you feel like you kind of reached a certain point, if the past 9 months have shown me anything, is that actually you can always go a little bit further the next time, and then and the next time. And there's exercises that I'm doing now and classes that I'm taking part in now that I wouldn't have dreamed of being able to do sort of 9 months ago, really. And you kind of sometimes lose sight of that. But it very quickly, your fitness levels do improve. And I think one of the big things that's contributed towards that is just the nature of the way the classes are run and the coaches that are there to push you along the way. And although for the hour that they're nudging you and pushing you and sometimes shouting at you, you might not particularly like them, actually. That's what they're there for. And if they weren't making you kind of dislike them a little bit in the session, they wouldn't be doing the job properly. But it's always done with a smile on the face and lots of banter along the way. And there's a really, certainly at the Colby base where I go to, there's a really good group who all encourage each other on the Facebook group, and by posting pictures and videos and just chatting away. And so there's a real support network beyond the team and the coaches, which have helped along the way, really, to keep that motivation as well.
Yeah. So you've obviously 3 stone, fitness is miles better. You're doing exercises now that you couldn't do when you started, loads more energy, and also the Facebook group has had a massive benefit. Yeah. What about nutrition-wise? I know you were saying that kind of it's become a lifestyle. It's not just a diet, whereas previously you'd struggled to keep the weight off permanently. Now it's more of a lifestyle, you were saying.
Yeah, I think the beginning, tracking exactly what you're eating and things like that is if you've not done that before, is quite different. But what that does is it does quickly open your eyes to sort of the calories in things, the percentage of fat or protein in things, and trying to find that right balance to kind of hit those calorie targets or protein targets for the week, so that then you just naturally get used to the things that are obviously going to help you do that. But then when the things that are a bit naughtier, let's say, crop up, they're much more of a treat these days, rather than it just as it was before, being kind of like the norm that every night I would have had something that I shouldn't. But then the choice is now that I make a difference, so that I'm not someone who would ever be able to cut out certain types of foods and certain things. And I do like chocolate, I like pizza, I like my wine, but it's just about moderation and seeing it as more of a treat rather than an all of the time thing. And I'm trying to find, rather than maybe get a takeaway pizza, buy a pizza from a shop so you know exactly what the calories are and things like that. So I found that, after the really kind of stringent tracking at the beginning, because I've lost the weight and I've maintained that, I've now got to a point where I've got that little bit more flexibility where I can still maintain the levels I've got to in terms of fitness and weight, with relaxing every now and again those kind of calories, and just treat myself a little bit.
Because of the results you've got now, it's you can maintain that and have a balance to your life of you still have things you enjoy in moderation, but you can still keep the weight off, which is something you struggled to do previously, which is like the win-win situation. And what is it was there anything else? So you've got the community Facebook group, the training sessions, the support, nutrition, anything else that helped?
I think I'd just say the simplicity of it. It wasn't, and I don't want to offend you in any way, but it's not overly complicated because you've kept it really simple. There's just some really clear things to do, which I think sometimes when people in the past have maybe tried to do other things, and there's so many calculations to do or so many different things to follow, track the calories, try and hit your protein target, drink plenty of water, do your 10,000 steps and do your 3 or 4 classes a week. They're all achievable and they're all really clear. So there's nothing to get confused about. And also it's easy to fit in. One of the things that I think, because sometimes, people, when you've got set classes at set times, I think some people see that maybe sometimes is a bit restrictive, whereas I kind of think it's the opposite, that because you've got a 6 till 7 class and a 7 till 8 class on those nights, that means that you've got to book into one of those sessions and you've got to go at that night and make the effort to go. And that was one of the things I used to always find easy to do, was to find an excuse not to go. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Because when you had the flexibility of going to a gym whenever you wanted to, or going to classes that were virtual, and so you just turn up and they put the screen on, there was never that accountability of, well, there's a real person who's starting that class at 6 o'clock who's expecting you to be there.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes by having those kind of set classes of 6 in the morning or 6 at night or 9 on a weekend, it just means that you can slot that in at your beginning of your week, and it's then much easier to kind of stick to a routine and follow that and know that you've done your sessions and kind of get to a Thursday and think, right, I've done 3 sessions this week, so I know I've done the 3 that I wanted to do, and that for me has been a real another thing that's really helped, by having those kind of clear times that I can know are coming up. I can book into my diary that then fit around work or family and everything else, and it's just that's been a really useful thing as well.
Yeah, so structure, having that structure, and that's something that's massively helpful. A plan that works, a system that's simple with our nutrition, our training, our habits. It's all simple, but it's effective. And then, and that's really why that works. Is there's so many people that we work with who have, like you, went to the gym prior to that, or cycled, or did things on their own. And it's easy to, if you've had a long day or you're tired, to put the gym off, or think I'll go tomorrow. Or if you're not really feeling it, to leave early. You know what I mean? Whereas with us, it's like, these are the times you turn up, you're accountable, and you work 10 times harder, which is what you've done.
And I used to go to the gym and I'd go and do 10, 15 minutes sometimes, and then I'd end up sat on the sit-down bike watching some rubbish telly.
Going through the motions.
With my legs just going round really low RPM or what have you. And I'd spend an hour and a half and wouldn't get anything out of it. Whereas there's no way in the middle of a class, if I'd started taking my feet off the gas, that Adele would let me get away with that. And she doesn't. Yeah. She'd be barking and she'd be shouting and she'd be saying, Grahm, shut up, get on with it. And it's that sometimes where that extra accountability from a real person that knows you and gets to know you really well as those in the room that are, you know, when you look around, I don't care what anyone says, we all don't want to be the one in the room that can't do that exercise. So if you've got 5 or 6 other people that are doing it better than you, you're going to push yourself, because there's that healthy competition in a supportive way in the room as well, that there's always somebody to kind of in your own mind compete against. I'm going to try and match them today. Whereas in the gym on your own, doing your own thing, you haven't got that. So there's loads of different things within that setting that have really benefited me.
Brilliant. And then finally, kind of, if someone who's maybe thinking about joining, what would you say to them?
I think it's the best, in terms of my fitness and my health, it's the best decision I've ever made. I've never been able to keep weight off when I've lost it before. I've never stuck at one kind of way of exercising or any kind of gym or gym classes for anywhere near this length of time, really. And for me, it's something that, as like I said previously, is give me that structure, give me that routine that's then enabled me to fit everything else in around it. So if somebody was wanting to join, I think the really good thing is that the 8-week program gives you just that. You've committed to 8 weeks. So if at the end of it, it isn't for you, you're hopefully finishing feeling good, feeling better, and losing weight, feeling healthy. And if it's not for you, or you don't think you could maintain it, you're not going to lose anything other than hopefully some weight. Whereas the amount of people that join, do their 8 weeks, and then we see the update on the Facebook group, oh, they've joined now on the yearly membership. It's a significant amount of people that stay on, and I think there's got to be a reason for that, because people enjoy it. It works, and like I said, that camaraderie and that sort of the humour in the groups and the classes really does benefit. And it is a community outside of the classes as well, through the Facebook group, which certainly at the moment, where, you know, we've benefited from that, from doing their workouts at home where you can see each other on the screen, and even still, you still get that benefit of keeping in touch with those people, keeping in touch with the coaches, getting barked at when you need to be barked at if you're slacking in your own front room, and all of that support that comes, really, you don't get if you just go to the gym on your own.
Yeah. Now you've hit the nail on the head. Obviously going through coronavirus at the moment, obviously modified, and we've gone all online and virtual, so you're still getting that accountability at home. And that, obviously, along with the structure and the support and the community, you know, as a whole, has helped you achieve what you have. And just to clarify, just for everyone watching, just 3 stone, loads fitter, loads more energy, can do exercises that you couldn't do when you started, loads healthier, and have kept the weight off permanently, and now you're at a healthy weight, you're happy with, and you can still enjoy your life. So just want to say, like, well done. Like, you've achieved that. You've got a busy job. You had a newborn. You've got a family at home. So it proves that you can do it, just putting in the work. So well done. Honestly, you deserve it.
Cheers.